Hi, welcome to Number Corner Day 2. This is September 9th, 2020. For today, you are going to need a whiteboard and a marker, or you could use a piece of paper and a pencil. So go ahead and pause me while you gather those things, and then unpause me when you're ready. Alright, so today we are going to be focusing on two different activities. We're going to be working here with odd and even numbers, and we're going to be starting to fill out our calendar grid observation chart here with using your whiteboard or paper that you already gathered to come up with some equations here in this section. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If I wanted to abbreviate September 9th, like we did yesterday, we counted, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So again, we're still in the 9th month. The 9 is the day and 20 is the year. So it would be 9/9/20 today. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our calendar. I know some of you predicted yesterday of what you thought today might be, either a penny, one of these things, which some of you knew what it was and some of you didn't, or a story problem like you see here. So let's go ahead and flip over the 9th, which is today is Wednesday. And this is another story problem we see here. Okay, so we're not going to focus on these story problems yet. We're going to be coming back to them. We're going to mainly focus today on these pennies you see here. And we're going to focus maybe on a couple of these, which are called number racks, if you didn't know. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on the 5th today, okay? So let's zoom in so you can see the 5th. Here's the 5th right here. I want you on your piece of paper, I want you to go ahead and give me an equation, an addition or a subtraction equation, to represent this number that you see here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do one on mine and kind of show you what I want, okay? So you could do something like this for addition, or you could do something like this for subtraction. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do one of these for you for the 5th so you kind of get an idea of what I'm looking for. Okay, so if you notice here on your screen, you see how many pennies on the left-hand side? Well, I hope you came up with 2, right? And how many pennies do you see on the right-hand side? There's 1. So go ahead and go 2 plus 1 is 3. So I could write my equation like this: is 2 plus 1 equals 3. For subtraction, I could go ahead and go 3 because there are 3 pennies total, and I could subtract either the 2 or the 1 to get the other number. So I would go 3 minus 2 equals 1. And I do not have the greatest marker today. So 3 minus 2 equals 1 here. Okay, so on my number corner, I'm going to go ahead and click back really briefly, and I'm going to click on here because we just did the, what date did we just do? We just did the 5th. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to say that we did 2 plus 1 equals 3. Now I could write any of those other equations that I talked about. It could be 1 plus 2 equals 3. It could be 3 minus 2 equals 1. Or I could have come up with 3 minus 1 equals 2. So there are 4 different equations usually for most of the pennies that you would come up with. So if we are on the 5th day, which I know we're not, we're on the 2nd day of school, but we're on the 9th today for the day of the for the month. If we were on the 5th, how many more days would it take to get to 20? So I want you to come up with that right now. Try to figure out, if we were on number 5, how many more would it get to be to 20? Okay, you should have gotten 15. There's 15 more days to get to 20 when we were on the 5th. Okay, we're going to catch up with one more of these, and I want you to try it on your own on that whiteboard or on a piece of paper that you have. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at another penny one. Let's go ahead and look at the 8th today. Okay, so I want you to come up with an equation for the 8th. I know you haven't done it by now, but go ahead and pause me, okay? So pause me, and then when you have the answer, go ahead and have it there, okay? I'm going to continue on for video so you don't have to wait for me forever. And I'm going to go ahead and go into this odd and even section here. For odd and even, we are going to be focusing on these tiles that you see. And I want you to think, what shape are these tiles? I hope you came up with a square, right? So these are all squares. How many squares do I have on my board right now? I hope you came up with 9. Because again, we're focusing on the 9th day today. Okay, so we have 9. We have 4 red and we have 5 blue. So eventually I'm going to have you do some equations for these too. So this one would be 4 plus 5 equals 9. Sometimes these will form another shape, like it might form a rectangle eventually, but right now we have not the same number. So when you have a different number for red and a different number for blue, that means that it's an odd number. If my daughter Avery and my son Miles, if they had a pack of, I don't know, M&Ms, and they want to divide those M&Ms evenly between the two, because Miles would get mad if Avery had more and Avery would get mad if Miles had more. They would take and they would divide those M&Ms until they had the same amount. Now here in this case, they would have an odd number. There'd be one left over, so maybe Mrs. Dunn wouldn't get to eat one, or maybe we would just give it to their dad. Okay, so that would be an odd number like this if they didn't have the same. If they got the same number when they were done, that would be an even number. So on my chart here, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. I'm going to go ahead and go to our odd and even chart. And I'm going to go ahead and just fill in for today. So we figured out that this number was odd. And if we wanted to do an addition equation today, I would go ahead and look back, and we had 4 plus 5, and I would go ahead and type that in there, 4 plus 5. I could have done the same thing as 5 plus 4. If I wanted to add the bottom number to the top number, it would still equal 9. There are also some subtraction equations that we could do. We could take the total number of squares that we have here, which is 9, and we could subtract the red ones, or we could subtract the blue ones. So I could go 9 minus 4 equals 5, or I could have done 9 minus 5 equals 4, okay, for here. So we are going to go ahead and fill some of these other ones in another day. I'm only going to do one more. We're going to go back and do the 8th right now. So pretend like we had the 8th, which was yesterday, your first day of school. How many reds do we have and how many blues do we have? We have 4 reds and 4 blues, right? So if I, again, was dividing this between 2 people, would they get the same number, or would there be one left over like we did today? We'd get the same number, right? So this is called even. So any number where there's an even number, where they get the same amount, is an even number. So I would go ahead and I could do 4 plus 4 equals 8, or I could do 8 minus 4, which equals 4, because they each get the same number. See how these ones have 2 each? Well, each time you have the even, you're only going to have 1 each. All right, we only have one small more activity to do today, and that is looking at this chart that we did yesterday. Yesterday we talked about how there are 60 minutes in every single hour. So on your clock, we are going to fill in one more of those hours because we're on our second day of school today. So it was 1 a.m. yesterday that we recorded our first time. So if it was 1 a.m. and we added one more hour, what time would it have been? And I know a couple people mentioned this on the Google form that we filled out yesterday. So it would be 2 a.m. Now, if I added 60 minutes, that's 1 hour, with another 60 minutes, which is now 2 hours, how many minutes would I have? Let's do it together. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. So we're at 120 minutes now. Now this AM here, that stands for morning, okay? So this is in the morning. This is when you are sleeping in the middle of the night, I hope anyway. So this is the morning time that we're working on now when you are sleeping. This is not in the afternoon, hopefully after you've eaten lunch, okay? So that is it for Number Corner today. I would love to see your equations that you worked on for the one that I didn't post. And I can post some of those then for tomorrow's video. So if you could attach those, I will have a little link that you can attach those to if you can take a picture. If not, you could just type it in. That's fine too. All right, well, have a happy Wednesday.